Like,
Who are you?
No, I mean, I used to love working bars. It's different now that I'm older, and the more you do them, the more you run into things you don't like about them, or you things. And in fact, when I met my wife, I was working a bar in Prior Lake doing karaoke, and I don't know why people don't do bars anymore. Everybody has their problems with either customers or people that are drunk or the bar owners or whatever. But here's a guy.
Well, the biggest complaint about bars is that they don't pay.
Right. Well, this one, and we can talk a little bit. I'd like to talk a little bit about that, but because this will get us started on it. This guy down in Florida, I'm. Let's see here. What was the guy's name? He was doing a karaoke gig, and the guy's name Joshua Fort, 26 years old. He performed a Jay-Z and Justin Timberlake song called "Holy Grail." Okay.
That'll get the crowd going.
The DJ Omar Isaac was DJing, and according to Joshua Fort, he thought that the DJ didn't turn his mic up enough, or the music up enough, or whatever. And you know how that works with karaoke. If you've ever done karaoke, every singer is a diva, and if you do it perfect, I sound like an awesome person, which it's just not the case, which is fine. But this guy got really upset. He slammed and grabbed and slammed down the DJ's laptop, and then picked up a glass and threw it at the DJ, hit him in the side of the head, and then ran out, and then got caught by the cops, where he sat in jail for aggravated battery with a deadly weapon.
Oh, as he should
and
be.
Out on bond with $5,000.
That's terrible. This is the Bill and Jason show. I'm Jason. That's Bill with the good news today.
Well,
always wear helmet to your karaoke gig.
I've had stuff thrown at me when I DJ'd. Have you?
Fortunately, I have not. I was really where I spent the most amount of
way better than me.
The bar that I spent the most amount of time in, and this is important when choosing a bar, and this is why I stayed there as long as I did. They had a zero tolerance policy, and they had a no discussion policy too, which really worked. So if I had a problem, I just cut the music, I cut the sound, so it was just silence, and then the bouncers rushed in because they knew if they heard nothing going on, something was going on. Right. So they would rush in, and basically, like, there was a couple of times where I had left my gear and I'd come back and somebody was had been hassling me anyway, and they were screwing around with it, touching my gear, and he might as well have his hands on my pants, because that's like that is like crossing a line that is like, you do not cross. You don't come in there.
I'm gonna write that down. Do not touch Jason's pants.
Right. Or my gear.
Damn it.
And so, and I said, you're done. I said, you're leaving. And the bouncer walks up and says, what's the problem? I said, this person has to go. And they're like, yeah, but and they said, let's go. And he was like, yeah, but, and they're like, let's go. They're like, I don't care. Let's go. We're not talking about it. You're leaving. You're done for the night.
Right.
And they just left them, because there are bars that it's like, oh, this guy might buy another drink. What do you mean? Why are you throwing him out? This is my good customer. And you get into that. You are like, I'd be like, Sarah,
well, I got nobody backing you up.
Sayonara. Like, we're not gonna do this. So then, so basically any customer behavior will be tolerated because they might buy a beer.
Right.
Which is not a good way to have a nice long-term success of your bar. Either that, or you're just going to have domestic issues all the time.
Right. Well, I had the same luck when I was downtown Minneapolis at an oldies club that I worked at. We had a code, that I don't remember what it was.
Code Banana Head.
But you just said a word on the microphone because you didn't want to stop, because it was a dance club. It was about just getting people crazy. You see any little thing, you're the eyes of the bouncer that from above that they can't see. So if I just say code, I can't remember what it was. It was like a color, and the bouncer got my eyes, and I just had to point. And it didn't matter. No one came up and asked me what was going on and why should we do this and let's have a discussion. No, boom, 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 and it kept me safe. It kept the clients that were there to have fun safe.
Right. Yeah.
And it's like two parents raising a child. If I say he's in trouble, mom says you're right.
Yeah, they back him up.
You back it up every single time.
Exactly. Well, and even thinking about the case of this story that you had, I mean, probably, like, as I think of many times that I worked in the bar, I see things starting to escalate where I won't actually shut down the music. I'll go get the bouncer and go, we have escalation.
Escalation.
And so then they go and check it out, and by the time they get there, things are kind of amping up because you know this. Fights don't generally. I mean, on occasion,
we don't always see it coming though.
No, you don't. You don't. You know, a lot of times it'll just be boom, it'll explode. But a lot of times there's a lot of posturing and there's a lot. There's a build up to before it actually becomes physical. There is a build up that occurs, and if you can see like that starting to happen, you can get somebody in there to dissolve it and get people out before it even turns into something, which is ideal, which requires
part of the job if
to
you
pay attention to the entire place.
Right, and if you're doing your job right as a DJ, you're paying attention to the entire place anyway because you're trying to read the crowd and see the excitement, and you're creating an escalation of excitement and energy. You just want to be sure that that excitement and energy that you're escalating is the fun and not the crazy. So because you're also responsible for that escalation, you need to now be responsible for anything else that might happen. So you know that, and now you have a conversation with security and or the owner if there isn't security or whatever that is to be able to keep you and the patrons safe as you go. And like I said, sometimes you don't see it coming at all. Sometimes people are just there to see what they can get away with. And the only story I have for that one is it was the same bar that I was working at in downtown Minneapolis, but I had moved on from DJing to management. And one of the mistakes that I made early on is when there's no security on, I shouldn't take on the responsibility of security. I should call someone until we have our own security in. But I thought, hey, I'll save some money. It's a slow night. So I stood by the bar. I stood by the door and just kind of watched people.
Looked ominous.
Yeah, just, I
wore your Grim Reaper outfit.
Look tough or whatever that is, but it's not like we were taking cover or anything. It's just kind of watching for young people or people that were too drunk or whatever it was.
With a big hammer.
So we get there and everything like that, and there's a couple of guys come into the bar and they give my bartender a couple trouble. And so I go over and ask him to go. And they're like, oh, yeah, no problem. No, it's not. And they're happy about it. They're like, oh, okay, no, I understand. We probably had too much. And they were smiling as they were walking out. And we got to the door and they turned around. He turned around like he was to thank me. And he stuck out his hand and took my hand to thank me. And in his other hand, he had this big crystal mug. And he came across and literally put me out with a smile on his face, with no escalation, without any anger in his face when he hit me. I've never been knocked out in my life.
Wow.
He came across here, I believe, because it was this bone. He broke this bone, so they had to go in there and bring it out.
Oh my gosh.
A little higher, he would have hit my temple, and I would not be here to be with you at the Bill and Jason show.
Wow.
So what's crazy about bars, and one of the things one of the reasons this is such an important discussion is you just never know.
Right.
So that idea of being aware of what's going on and having a relationship and an agreement with those people running the restaurant or the bar, that kind of thing just can't be tolerated, because once you add alcohol to the mix and then you take music and what we do and amp everybody up, you're sitting on the edge of something might happen. So you got to have an agreement.
Right. Oh yeah. Right. And treat them like they're all part of your essential team. It's because it really is crucial to be able to deliver in a bar. That should be in the first chapter of Bar Book 101.
It really ought to. Hey, what's your story? Everybody's had a bar story, a good one, a bad one. Were you ever attacked? Did you ever have a dangerous situation happen when you were doing your job? Were there dogs involved? That's the one I really want to hear. Write it down in the comments below on the YouTube channel. Go to the Bill and Jason Show on Facebook and like us. We actually have a Twitter page that a lot of people don't know about. So go ahead and if you tweet, go there and be a part of that and follow us. So and I suppose try not to do anything that'll get you thrown out.
Yeah, right, exactly. Behave yourself.
See you next week.
Broadcasting from high atop planet Earth at a rate of 96 kilobytes sampled per second over the interweb in an effort to stop glorifying being busy. This has been an entertainment experience production.